Did you really think Billie Piper regenerating into the Doctor was just a shocking stunt? Because if that's all you thought it was, then you're already missing the point. This isn't just fan service. This isn't just a cheap twist. This is a rewriting of Doctor Who itself. And the deeper you look, the stranger it gets. Because what happened on screen wasn't just a what if, it was a forbidden rewrite of the show's most sacred law, Regeneration. Think about it. Billie Piper, Rose Tyler, a companion, the human girl from a London shop, the one character we thought had already lived her story. And yet she steps forward and the Doctor's face becomes hers. How? Why? And what does it mean? If you're already confused, good, that's exactly where Russell T Davies wants you. Off balance, questioning everything you thought you knew. Because the first rule of Doctor Who was always this: the Doctor regenerates, the companions don't. But now the lines are blurred, and if you think this is a one-off, you're wrong, because this could be the blueprint for the future of the entire series. So here's the problem. Doctor Who has always survived because of rules. Rules that fans cling to like lifelines. Regeneration limits, Gallifrey, the Time Lord's codes. But every time those rules get rewritten, the fandom fractures. The Timeless Child broke one wall, Beat Generation shattered another, and now Billie Piper has kicked the door clean off the hinges. You think this is just about Billie? No. This is about a universe where the line between Doctor and companion is erased forever. And that's why this isn't just a twist, it's the beginning of Doctor Who's most dangerous transformation. Now, before we plunge even deeper, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel doesn't just react. We uncover the secrets everyone else is too afraid to touch. And trust me, the Billie Piper twist is hiding something that will blow your mind. Alright, back to it. Because what if this wasn't random at all? What if Billie's regeneration was always part of Russell T Davies' plan? Remember? Bad Wolf. Remember how Rose scattered herself across time and space, leaving echoes? What if this wasn't just a story device, but a breadcrumb trail, a secret thread weaving from 2005 to 2025, leading us right here? Because if Rose has always been connected to the heart of the TARDIS, if she's always been more than human, then maybe, just maybe, this regeneration wasn't a twist. It was destiny, but destiny for who? For Rose? For the Doctor? Or for us, the audience, being reshaped by a show that refuses to stay in its box? And if you're thinking, no, that's too wild, they wouldn't go that far, you need to remember, this is the same franchise that turned the Doctor into the Timeless Child, the same show that just generated a Time Lord, the same universe where rules are made to be broken. So let's stop pretending this is random. Let's stop treating Billie's regeneration as just a twist, because buried underneath it is the real forbidden secret. And once you see it, you'll never look at Doctor Who the same way again. So was Billie Piper's regeneration really random? Or was it carefully planted nearly 2 decades ago? Let's trace the breadcrumbs. Back in 2005, Rose Tyler didn't just meet the Doctor, she absorbed the time vortex. Not by accident, not by chance. She looked into the heart of the TARDIS itself. And in doing so, she became something else. Not human, not Time Lord, something in between. The words were there all along, I can see everything. All that was all that ever could be. That wasn't just a throwaway line. That was Time Lord language, the speech of regeneration, the exact perspective of the Doctor himself. Now ask yourself, why did Rose survive that? Why didn't it destroy her the way it should have? Why didn't it erase her humanity? Maybe because regeneration was already inside her. Fast forward. Turn left, an alternate timeline. A single choice. Rose breaking through universes to guide Donna Noble. Again, she wasn't just a companion. She was the architect of destiny. Fast forward again. The day of the Doctor. The moment. The sentient Time Lord weapon chose her face. Not Martha's. Not Clara's. Not Donna's. Rose's. Why? Because the moment recognized something. Because we were meant to recognize something. Rose wasn't just a companion. She was the bridge between human and Time Lord, between destiny and chaos, between story and meta-story. And suddenly, Billie Piper's regeneration doesn't look like a stunt. It looks like a culmination. A thread finally pulled tight after 20 years of weaving. But here's where it gets darker. Because if Rose had regeneration energy within her since 2005, then what does that mean for every timeline she touched, every person she saved, every universe she crossed? It means the Doctor wasn't the only fixed point in time anymore. Rose was, and that changes everything, because if Rose is able to regenerate, then the sacred order of Doctor Who, the very idea that there can only ever be one central figure, the Doctor, is shattered. Suddenly, a companion can be just as eternal, just as unkillable, just as powerful. And the fandom isn't ready for that, because if Billie Piper can step into the role of the Doctor through regeneration, then so could Clara, or Donna, or even Jack. The show has cracked itself wide open, and that's not an accident. This isn't about nostalgia. This isn't about pleasing old fans. This is about creating a universe where anyone can be the Doctor. Where the Doctor isn't a person anymore, but a concept. And here's the forbidden question no one's asking: if the Doctor is no longer bound to one body and one Time Lord, one identity, then what even is the Doctor anymore? A title? A myth? A virus spreading through time, and suddenly Russell T Davies' cryptic one-word answer, behave, starts to sound less like a joke and more like a warning. Because if the audience follows this logic too far, if they see the pattern that's been seeded since 2005, then they'll realize the terrifying truth, Doctor Who isn't just about the Doctor anymore. It's about us. It's about the show itself regenerating into something unrecognizable, and Billie Piper's twist was the key that unlocked that door. But here's the part that will really blow your mind. What if Russell T Davies planned this all along? What if the return of Rose Tyler as the Doctor wasn't just fan service, but the endgame of a master plan stretching across decades? Because buried in interviews, old scripts, and even the spin-off media, there are clues hidden, ignored, forgotten. Clues that point to one forbidden idea: the Doctor was never supposed to be just one person. And if that's true, then the entire future of the show has already been decided. So now we arrive at the question no one dares to ask aloud: why Billie Piper?
Why now?
And why did Russell T Davies, the man who built the modern era of Doctor Who, choose this exact moment to let the mask slip? Let's connect the dots. For years, RTD has spoken in riddles. He doesn't just give answers, he teases. He provokes, he hides things in plain sight. From Bad Wolf to Torchwood to The Timeless Child, the real story has always been buried under a layer of misdirection. So when fans asked him directly about Billie Piper's regeneration, and he only replied with a single word, "Behave!" What if that wasn't deflection? What if it was confirmation? Think about it. If this were just a publicity stunt, if Billie Piper's cameo was just nostalgia bait, why wouldn't he simply say so? Why not just laugh it off? Because he couldn't. Because the truth is bigger than one episode, bigger than one series, bigger than the Doctor himself. The truth is, Billie Piper's regeneration wasn't just a twist. It was a signal that the rules have changed. And here's the kicker: this didn't happen in isolation. Look at the timing. Disney's partnership with Doctor Who collapsing in real time. Rumors of Netflix and HBO Max circling the show like vultures. Whispers of spin-offs delayed, cancelled, or rewritten behind closed doors. At the exact moment the show's future becomes unstable, Russell T Davies pulls his boldest trick yet. He gives regeneration to Rose Tyler. Why? Because regeneration is power. It's permanence, it's survival, and by handing it to Rose, RTD isn't just telling a story. He's rewriting the foundation of the franchise itself. He's creating what looks suspiciously like a backdoor reboot. Think about the business logic here. If the Disney deal really is dead, then the BBC has a problem. How do you keep Doctor Who alive without leaning on one actor, one Doctor, one fragile continuity? Simple. You build a new mythology, you spread regeneration like a virus. You make it so anyone, any actor, any companion, any spin-off can carry the flame. It's not about protecting the Doctor, it's about protecting the brand. And who better to carry that torch than Billie Piper, the face that relaunched the series in 2005, the fan-favorite companion, the symbol of the new era? This isn't fan service, this is insurance. But let's go darker. If this really is a backdoor reboot, then Billie Piper's regeneration isn't just a one-off twist. It's a proof of concept. It's RTD showing the BBC, the fans, and most importantly, the streaming giants exactly what the future of Doctor Who could look like. A multiverse of Doctors. A franchise where the Doctor isn't bound by one body, one story, one actor. A show that can regenerate forever. Sound familiar? It should, because that's the exact same strategy Marvel and DC used to survive. Reboots, variants, alternate timelines, legacy characters. Russell T Davies isn't writing science fiction anymore. He's writing franchise survival. And here's the chilling part. If Doctor Who becomes this, a multiverse machine, endlessly regenerating, endlessly rebooting, then the Doctor stops being special. Regeneration stops being a miracle. It becomes just another franchise gimmick. The question isn't, who is the Doctor? Anymore. The question becomes, who isn't the Doctor? And maybe that's exactly what RTD wanted all along. Because back in 2005, when he resurrected the show, he planted the seed with 2 words: Bad Wolf. A warning, a prophecy, a message scattered across all of time and space. And if you trace it forward to now, to Billie Piper's regeneration, the meaning becomes terrifyingly clear. Doctor Who was never about the Doctor. It was about the story itself. A story that can't die, can't end, can't stop. Because every time it does, it just regenerates. And Russell T Davies, with his sly grin and his cryptic, "Behave!" knows exactly what he's doing. He isn't just keeping secrets, he's pulling the strings of the future. And the fans, the actors, even the networks, they're just passengers on the ride. But what if we've already seen the next step of his plan, hidden in plain sight, buried in old interviews and spin-offs, waiting for the right moment to strike? Because if Billie Piper's regeneration was the beginning, then the true endgame of Doctor Who has only just begun.